federal sex trafficking and other charges, to all of which
you have a substantial amount of money. Imagine if someone...
Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody.
Yes, in my humble estimation, his life, his safety is in jeopardy. And
Puff always had a problem.
Than it was then, all right? But let me tell you.
Went public with more accusations against the music mogul. Talia Gray.
His desires, including his freak-offs. What a word. What a word.
all of which he's pleaded not guilty. There's no VIP section. There is no concierge, only conmen, killers, and kingpins. MDC is so bad, federal judges have questioned the harsh conditions for those here awaiting trial.
Diddy is currently serving a life sentence at the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, which is well known for its appalling conditions. According to reports, his current prison experience is far worse than what many would consider a life sentence. There are rumors that Diddy is imprisoned in the Special Housing Unit, also known as the Hole, which is a tiny, windowless cell. It is said that Diddy is forced to sleep on a concrete floor with only a thin mattress. There are also worries about the presence of rodents, and Diddy is allegedly avoiding meals out of fear that the food may contaminate him. Additionally, MDC is teeming with criminals, including crime bosses and conmen murders.
Paid someone off on the inside to actually poison his food, give him a heart attack, and he dies. And no one would really think anything of it. So that may be one of the reasons he's not eating. He's really, really paranoid. He's really...
President Donald Trump, after spending a terrifying year in federal imprisonment, Michael Cohen, the erstwhile fixer for President Trump, claims that prison life is a terrible shock and worse than death for someone accustomed to a life of luxury like Diddy. You have 3 feet by 5 feet to work with, for a total of 15 square feet. It's a terrible, miserable place with a desk, a plastic chair, a bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and a locker.
He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around.
No, he won't. What'll happen is that he's there for, his trial hasn't even started. The lawyers are talking about possibly having a trial with him later on, and that won't be until next year. MDC, I've heard the conditions are very difficult, they're deplorable. As you said, the maggots, the mice. I had some friends that work there, so they tell me that the conditions are kind of horrible. MCC closed, so all the prisoners now are going into MDC, the federal prisoners. But what happens is that after a while, when they get sentenced, they get moved. They get moved to prisons around the country. Now, from what I'm hearing today, it could be true or not true, I heard that he might have been moved to Newark.
No,
and taken out of MTC because they may have had that application go in and it might have been granted.
According to Cameron Lindsay, a former warden at the MDC, where Diddy is being housed, Diddy's life may actually get worse while he is inside. Lindsay noted that Diddy is a high-profile figure due to celebrity position and the serious charges against him. Target in the prison setting, inmates in these establishments frequently view attacks on well-known people as a badge of honor. Raising the possibility of difficulty for Diddy, Lindsay added that the MDC's conditions were appalling and appropriate for a person awaiting trial because there is little access to outside recreation and other necessities, which creates a tense atmosphere.
In any correctional lockup right now, if it is true, as reported, that he is housed in the special housing unit, it's important to note that the special housing unit is a lockdown, 24-hour lockdown unit. The MDC Brooklyn is a high-rise. The vast majority of the floors are general population floors, but the special housing unit is a 24-hour lockdown facility. So this is for Mr. Combs' protection. His incredible worldwide celebrity combined with the allegations, the charges now, an indictment, of course, of acts of violence against women make him a very attractive target.
All right. On transaction after Diddy's life in prison, his former bodyguard has voiced grave worries about his safety and mental health. He has also warned that the stress of the legal process and Diddy's detention may cause him to consider self-destruction.
Of listening to people that he thought that was less than him. And now he got to listen to people that got power over him but never had as much as he had, he's going to have a big problem in the prison system. He's going to have a real big problem in the prison system, bro. And having to listen to those COs and having to listen to everybody that got more power than him now, from a person that had all the power in the world that we thought, now seem like the tables is turning. If these people have it this their way, he's going to be spending the rest of his life in the prison system. He better hope that they want to make a deal, but I don't think so, or they want somebody else. He better hope, and he got something to offer them. Even if
former gangster Ori Spio has also brought attention to the harsh circumstances Diddy is being imprisoned in at Brooklyn's Metropolitan Detention Center. According to Spio, the facility is terrible and full of psychological difficulties, which contrasts drastically with Diddy's previous opulent lifestyle.
Let me tell you about Essex County. Essex County. My friend says it's the worst in New Jersey. It's a very serious jail. People get beat up left and right. The Bloods and Muslims control everything there. He will be in PC or he's going to have to pay. Now, let me tell you, a guy like Diddy with money, they put him in general population, he's going to be paying a lot of people. A lot of families are going to be very happy because they're going to be getting monthly money from Diddy. Trust me on that there. All right? My friend said it was the worst spot, constant lockdowns, and the food was beyond disgusting. Now, he said it was beyond disgusting there. He's saying that it was great at MDC when we were first there, and it was disgusting. All right? But he said it might be better for him because MDC is really fucked up now, and the MS-13 are controlling. From what I hear, MS-13 is now controlling MDC. These are folks, this is information that came from somebody who just got released and knows these prisons. So I don't know why this attorney wants to get him transferred from MDC to Essex. It's like from worse to worse.
A significant divergence from the opulence and power Diddy formerly enjoyed. The Metropolitan Detention Center MDC grants few privileges and subjects prisoners to ongoing, serious threats.
Claims in a civil lawsuit that Combs and a bodyguard drugged, bound, and raped her in 2001 and filmed the incident. Graves is represented by famed litigator Gloria Allred, who is no stranger to representing women in high-profile cases, okay? Here's a list. We're speaking of Gloria Allred here, okay? Here's a list of just some of the women she's represented in the past. Look at this list right here. O.J. Simpson trial, remember that Scott Peterson trial, Tiger Woods scandal, Bill Cosby scandal, Anthony Weiner, former representative out of New York. Remember that? All of that stuff happened. That's who she's represented. Allred represented Amber Fry, the girlfriend of Scott Peterson, who was convicted of killing his wife and unborn son, and most notably, she represented more than...
Given the conditions in which Diddy is being held in prison, the federal trafficking and racketeering allegations against him carry a substantial prison sentence, which is equivalent to the death penalty. Given the severity of these acts, Nama Ramani, a former prosecutor, says that these significant allegations could result in years behind prison.
That the U.S. Attorney's Office can offer, and it's certainly not one that Diddy will accept. It would involve decades in federal prison. We're talking about mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking. So we know that Diddy has fought charges before. There were state charges, there were gun-related, the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he's going to dig in his heels, and this case is going to trial. So if you're prosecutors, you really want to make sure that your evidence is bulletproof before you go down that.
The U.S. Attorney's Office is unable to reach a settlement, and Diddy is unlikely to accept one that would result in decades in federal prison and mandatory minimum sentences of 10 years for both the drug charges and the sex trafficking. We are aware that Diddy has previously fought charges related to gun ownership and the nightclub shooting with J-Lo, but he is likely to dig in his heels, and this case will go to trial. As prosecutors, you should make sure your evidence is solid before taking that route.
That's become, honestly. And just to give you a little list of exactly what him and his employees got up to here, we've got sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. Wow. Like, you know what? You're P. Diddy. You've got all the money in the world. You don't need to do any of this. But for some people, the more powerful they get, the more dark their imagination becomes, and the more they want to push the boundaries to do the craziest fucked up shit possible. And this is what happens when a psychopath gets this much power. Even those words coercion and enticement to engage in prostitution, it wasn't enough for him to get consenting, prostitutes who do this by trade. What a trade. Do you know what I mean? I don't remember that in my apprenticeship. But people who do this for a living anyway. It was fun for him to take people who would never ordinarily have been a prostitute into that so that they could become his toys. And by the sounds of it, P. Diddy and his employees would do whatever it took to get women into his inner circle to participate in whatever fucked up shit he was into. He would use threats. He would use intimidation. He would even use the offer of a romantic relationship, that lover boy method that Andrew Tate made.
Diddy's life has drastically changed from being wealthy and characterized by opulent mansions, private jets, and